Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punt Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Hello and welcome. This is Sports Talk with me, Lewis Connell. And as always, I'm joined by Peter Spencer from Betfred. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great. Thanks very much.
We'll start with the Premier League. Man City drawing 4-4 with Chelsea on Sunday night. What a game that was. That's probably, well, without doubt, the game of the season so far.
Yeah, it was absolutely spellbinding from the moment the whistle went to when he blew the final whistle. What was particularly good about it is VAR isn't dominating the headlines this morning. There were some little bits of controversies, but they were resolved. And it just was a game that had absolutely everything. And you just knew that Cole Palmer was going to make the headlines.
Yeah.
What a player he is. He's just got that strut, that arrogance that we absolutely love in footballers. And he was, and I did a column with Betfred, with Fred Doan, the boss, calling for Cole to be included in the England squad. And guess what? He has been.
He has been.
He picked, and about time too. Yeah. What a player. He showed the courage to leave Manchester City because he only had 3 starts there. He's making a real good fist of it at Chelsea. He must be first on the team sheet. He's an absolutely excellent player. And I noticed that in the background to him, whilst he was at the academy at City, they kept playing him down in the under-18s team rather than the under-21s like his peers were, and he was getting more and more frustrated. But the reason for that was he was quite frail, but he had a football brain. He's got that vision, and he can score goals. And it was just fantastic that he should get that equaliser from the penalty spot.
Yeah, I think he's done so well to sort of defy the critics, really, Cole Palmer, because a lot of eyebrows were raised when he signed for Chelsea. People saying, "Oh, he's a reject and all this. How's he going to fit into the style of play?" But he's, like you say, he's probably the first name on the team sheet now, isn't he? So
he is, and he must have had some harrowing conversations with Pep Guardiola at City about the chances that he was going to get. Guardiola was saying that Mahrez was leaving and that he would get a chance, but to get a chance at City means maybe play half the number of games in a season and not necessarily in the Premier League. Players like Foden have even found it tough, not recently, but last season for sure. And certainly Grealish is now. This year, everybody's got huge competition. Anyway, he took his decision, made his decision, and it seems to be paying off brilliantly for him.
Definitely.
I mean, he wouldn't have got into the England team if he'd have stayed at City because he wouldn't have played enough matches.
No. Well, it was interesting, that game, because it was the first time in a long time I've seen City so sort of rattled, really, by another team. Conceding 4. I can't remember the last time City conceded 4. Probably the earlier days when Everton beat them about 5 years ago. But
yeah, well, 4-4 was 175 to 1 at Betfred. So we had a handful of winners on that, including one guy from Hampshire who had all of 10 pence on it. So he's hardly in the money, but anyway, it's not a bad return, is it, for 10 pence?
Yeah.
£17.50 and 50p, of course. And also City were the winners of the Hot Shots, that coupon where we people can bet on who scores the most goals. They weren't favourites for that because we were playing Chelsea, and people might be wondering why they should have picked Chelsea, because Chelsea obviously scored 4 as well, but the reason for that is that City scored the first goal, and they were 16 to 1 to be the top scorers in that round of games.
Well, that was very surprising, but as you say, you might have thought that Manchester United would have been one of the favourites for that, but they obviously did beat Luton, but they only won by 1 goal in the end, so it was a bit of a disappointing win, if that's even possible. But
well, you're dead right. They were favourites to win the Hot Shots this weekend. I mean, they were playing Luton, lowly Luton, who put up a decent fight, and it was another sort of scrambled victory for Manchester United, one that keeps the pressure off the manager there. And I notice now that United are still amongst the outsiders of the top group to win the title. They're 100 to 1 now to actually win the Premier League title. City, Betfred have them outright favourites 2 to 5. Arsenal 5 to 1. Liverpool 13 to 2. Then we've got Tottenham at 25 to 1. Betfred have Newcastle 66 to 1. Aston Villa, they're still going strong, 80 to 1. And then next up is Manchester United. The best bet for United basically is a top 4 finish, and Betfred have them at 7 to 2 to achieve a top 4 finish, but they're well behind City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs and Newcastle for that.
And how are the odds for relegation looking after a few decent points by some of the struggling sides? Sheffield United drawing away at Brighton, good result for them.
Yeah, well, Sheffield United still 1 to 6 with Betfred, Luton 1 to 5, and Burnley 8 to 13. So we're still thinking it's going to be the teams that came into the Premier League who'll go straight back down to the Championship.
And it's of course the international break now. England are in action on Friday. They're facing Malta, and they've won 4-0 on the past couple of occasions that they've faced that opposition. So you'd think that'll be a similar scoreline to that one.
Well, a lot of people realise that and think that 4-0 seems to be a number of goals that a team like England would score, and then they ease off a little bit and perhaps make substitutions. So as you rightly say, they've won the last 2 games 4-0 against Malta, and for them to go and do exactly the same again, that's 5 to 1 at Betfred, 5 to 1, so that's an half decent bet there. For England to beat Malta, it's on a different level. It's 1 to 50. Malta to actually win is 66 to 1 with Betfred. So we do think it'll be a huge victory for England, and as I say, 4-0, as in the past 2 occasions those 2 countries have played each other. That's 5 to 1 at Betfred.
And that's of course a Euro 2024 qualifying match. What are the odds looking like for England to pick up the whole tournament?
Well, outright winners, England, favourites now 4 to 1. France 9 to 2. The hosts Germany and Spain are both 7 to 1 shots. Portugal, they're 9 to 1. And then we've got Scotland 80 to 1. Wales 150 to 1 to win the tournament outright.
Moving on to the Cricket World Cup. 4 sides left now. It's New Zealand, India, Australia and South Africa. And India will no doubt be the favourites still for that one.
Yeah, India play their semi-final on Wednesday against the 4th place finishers, who are New Zealand. And India are 5 to 6, so odds on to go and win the tournament as the host nation. New Zealand, they're 7 to 1, and in between them on Thursday we've got Australia against South Africa in the other semi-final. Much closer, the betting on that. Australia 10 to 3, so second favourites to be outright winners. South Africa 4 to 1. So we are thinking it's going to be an India Australia final, which takes place in India on Sunday.
And just to finish, we've got a story on a winner from last week, and he's spent his money in a very sort of interesting way, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Older listeners may well remember the Bullseye programme with the late Jim Bowen as the host. And it's a real flashback in time, this, because they had some really naff prizes. And the huge joke that gripped the nation was who's going to win the speedboat. It was actually won once by a couple from Coventry who lived in a high-rise flat. So they won it and didn't know what to do with it, as many people wouldn't. But this guy from Salford, he's won the Irish Lotto with Betfred. His 5 numbers all came out. He had a 50p accumulator bet, and he's won £20,000. And guess what? He's going to buy a speedboat. It's going to cost him $5,000, a second-hand one. He's fed up of being in the sea in his kayak off Triada Bay in Anglesey, where he's got a static caravan, and he's fed up with just sitting there in his kayak or going off snorkeling. And he sees all the jet set flying off in the speedboats. Well, he's joining them now because he's going to buy this speedboat. I mean, Fred's so chuffed about this bloke from Salford who's buying himself a speedboat. He's going to get it in the Betfred colours, red and blue. He's hoping that he calls it after something to do with Betfred, and the jury's out on that. But in prime position, the boat could well be called Boat Fred. Fred sent him a bottle of champagne, which he's going to save and use on the launch day. So that'll be a spectacular event, and that's going to happen in spring, no doubt.
Well, we'll look forward to that. I'm sure you will be providing updates on that.
The winner is Derek Meller. He's electrician's mate from Salford, as I say, and he's going to spend his money on the speedboat, as well as other things, more routine things like a nice holiday, and he's going to have a whale of a time. Be treating his wife, no doubt, as well. His wife Mary, who's looking forward to getting on that speedboat with him. Well,
all the very best too then. Congratulations, of course. And if you do fancy a bet, you can bet online on the app or in Betfred stores. And Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem at all. Thanks very much.
Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers, and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punts Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18+, begambleaware.org.